What's the matter, David?
I'm taking a shortcut before.
You can start.
Alright. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Aiden Billing, and this is the GBDENG podcast with my friend Daniel Ang. I run the GBD Reviews page on Instagram, and what do you run, Daniel?
So I'm Daniel. I run the YouTube channel Reviewing.
Awesome name. I've said this many times already. Yeah, it's an awesome place. So check it out, guys, if you haven't heard of it yet. But yeah, let's get into some movie trivia like we always do. What do you have for me today, Daniel?
Yeah, so I decided to do a little spin. Aiden, how many Oscar nominations has James Corden received?
Oh, I think that's an easy question for me. I'd say -0 because he sucks. But we're gonna get into that later. You know, this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is 0.
Yeah, this guy's terrible. But all right, now I got one for you. So, who is Christopher Nolan married to?
Pretty sure her name is Emma Nolan, correct?
Technically yes, but she goes by Emma Thomas. So you're right. I'll give you that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. All right, so we've got some movie news. As you may or may not have heard, Disney dropped a bomb on us. What was it, last Thursday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a ton of movie news, ton of Star Wars stuff, ton of like Marvel stuff. I just want to hear your thoughts on like what's your biggest anticipated release from that catalog?
Yeah, so the thing that I was most interested in hearing about was the new Pixar movie that's planned to come out in 2022 called Turning Red. It'll be directed by the Oscar-winning director Domi Shi. She won her Oscar for directing the animated short Bao. And it's supposed to be about a girl who's 13 and she's starting to go through puberty, but with all of the things that comes with that, but also as a twist, when she gets too excited, which apparently happens a lot, she turns into a red panda.
Well, that is certainly a unique story. I ain't never heard of anything like that before, so I think I'd have to check that out. Yeah. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, Domi Shi's from Sheridan, which is here in the GTA. So, and now she's going to be making a movie for Pixar, so that's really great to see.
Yeah, no, that is really great. It's always nice to see Canadian content creators, make it big. I think that's like really good for us. It gives us some hope. I don't know if we're gonna, make anything big one day, but it certainly, makes us motivated. So
Yep.
Yeah. I personally am most excited for like all the new Star Wars stuff because I'm sure you guys don't know this already. I know you know this, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I have been since I saw the first movie when I was like, I don't know, maybe 5 actually. I was really young. So, and I love especially like the Clone Wars and stuff like that. So seeing the show's Ahsoka, like her own spin-off show coming out, and the Bad Batch, which is a continuation of the Clone Wars, like it made me just really happy. To be honest, like I really kind of lost it when I saw those announcements. Like I don't know. I haven't really anticipated stuff like that in a while. So I'm really excited for when those come out.
Yeah, my favorite thing, I love Star Wars personally too. My favorite thing was that Taika Waititi's been confirmed to direct a Star Wars movie. And I love Taika Waititi. He's one of my favorite directors. He's one of the best directors working today. And he always brings a unique spin to whatever he touches, whether that's a movie about World War II and he turns it to a satire comedy, or a Thor movie that he basically just also turns into a comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a very talented director. Like the first movie I saw that he did was Hunt for the Wilder People.
I've seen that. It's a great
movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's still on Netflix, but the last time I checked, it was there.
I think it got recently added. I know I was talking earlier about how I think Edgar Wright might be the best comedy director working today, but I think Taika is definitely close. Like I don't know if I could pick between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, his comedy is very like it's very off-brand. It's not exactly like what you'd expect from a big movie, but it just works in ways you can't really understand.
It works with mainstream audiences, which is just great for a unique brand of humor that is him.
Yeah. Well, Kiwi humor is like it's pretty much the same thing, well, because he is from New Zealand, right? So I guess he has to he sees comedy in that way, so it gives us a different perspective on what comedy should be in a movie. So yeah. I don't know if you. I think there's also another movie that got announced for Star Wars. It was Rogue Squadrons, directed by Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. So that looks kind of interesting.
I saw the little clip about her talking about how she's always been looking for a movie to honor her dad, who was a fighter pilot. And it's like, I felt like it was cool that she combined Star Wars and the idea of honoring her dad through the stories of like fighter pilots. But it also seems a little sacrilegious that you're like taking your father's memory and putting it into a commercially driven Star Wars movie. But she's a talented director. I like Wonder Woman. I haven't seen any of her other stuff, but I don't know. It should be good. It intrigues me.
Oh, she did. I think if I'm not mistaken, she did Monster as well with. What's her name? I was released there in 2003.
People say it's okay. Some people. People definitely thought Charlize Theron's performance was brilliant. I think that's probably the standout of that movie. Yeah. So Lin-Manuel Miranda is also slated to do the music for Little Mermaid and Encanto. So it's a Little Mermaid Mermaid. Little Mermaid. Did I say what? Yeah, no, yeah.
Sorry,
so
man.
Little Mermaid. That will be
featuring
people such as Daveed Diggs, who's in Hamilton, Jacob Tremblay from Room, Javier Bardem, who's best known for No Country for Old Men, and Awkwafina from The Farewell and Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh yeah, no, she's great. I think she's like her humor isn't like what you typically like see in comedy, but like I think it's kind of interesting. Also, like how she combines like elements of hip hop into her comedy routines. You know, thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, so definitely a great fit.
Oh yeah,
and I think No, Melissa McCarthy is Ursula. I don't know if you mentioned that already, but like, yeah, I think she'll be pretty good. You know, I kind of feel like she's a good fit for the role. Like her type of humor and like sometimes when she likes to scream a bit, like, you know how Will Ferrell does, where he's just loud and like kind of a man-child. That's kind of what Melissa McCarthy does sometimes, which I think is perfect for the role.
Especially with Lin-Manuel doing the music, I think this could definitely easily be one of the better, if not the best, Disney remake.
Yeah, I mean, like, it definitely has potential. I mean, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda, like you said. Well, excuse my mumbling, but yeah, he's a really good composer. I mean, like, I think he did a really good job with Hamilton, so like, there's definitely some potential here. Yeah. And he also did a really good job with the music for Moana, which I know both you and I really liked. So
Christian Bale has also been announced to be in the new Thor movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, which will also be directed by Taika Waititi. That will also bring back Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, but Christian Bale is in that movie, which I find really cool.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to be interesting. I think we discussed this a little bit earlier before we started re-recording this, but this will be his first comic book role since 2012's The Dark Knight Rises, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it'll be nice to see him return back to the world of comic book movies, you know? Yeah. He's a very talented actor. Yeah. A bit of a temper, but he's still amazing actor. Probably one of the best of our generation. So
confirmed. Yeah. They've already been theorized, but they're confirmed, and some of their cast has been announced. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings is being announced. That will be directed by Daniel Destin Creighton, who's directed Short Term 12 and Just Mercy. Both of those are very good movies. I very much enjoyed both of those. And it will be starring Simu Liu, who is from Kim's Convenience, a Canadian television show. So he's a Canadian. I'm pretty sure he's a CBC. So it's Canadian-born Chinese. Yes. Well, no, sorry. What I was trying to say there was CBC Canadian. Which it's on CBC. Yeah, no, it's just kind of funny that he's on a CBC show. It's kind of like
okay.
CBC stands for Canadian-born Chinese, so it's really cool to see him as the star of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, good for him. You know, more power to Canadians to be in these big movies. You know, it's always nice. It's always nice when you can see someone who can relate to, like, on the big screen. You know, making it right. You know, I think that Yeah, it's really helpful. I mean, like, I know Canada's not like a huge market,
Yeah.
but I feel like, putting
For sure.
like, getting more
Yeah,
talented Canadian actors into films
Benedict
like,
Wong's supposed
really
to be in
help,
this movie.
boost
Michelle
the film's like
Yeoh,
profits.
she's
But
a very good actress. Awkwafina is also in this one, so she's doing the most out here. Yeah. Yeah. The other Marvel movie I'm really excited for is Eternals.
Now.
That'll be directed by Chloe Zhao.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
the director and writer of Nomadland, a movie that's been getting a lot of Oscar buzz. I personally think she'll be taking home award for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I think they definitely have a shot to win Best Picture. It's currently my prediction for Nomadland to win Best Picture. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, well, I haven't seen any of her work, but from what you've told me, I'm like, she's very talented, so I will have to definitely check that out and make my own assumptions. But yeah, the one thing I'm really excited for, I don't know if you heard about this, there's been a lot of casting, like updates for the third Spider-Man movie, and my God.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Jesus Christ. Alfred Molina is coming back as Dr. Otto Octavius from the original Spider-Man 2. Honestly, that made my week. That was one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Like, I don't even know how they're going to make this work, but I feel like, considering Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst are going to come back, I feel like a live-action Spider-Verse is definitely a big possibility now. And, if you can believe this, there were pictures of, apparently, Tobey Maguire at a costume fitting
I quickly looked
Angeles,
up what the cast is. Apparently Jamie Foxx might be coming back as Electro.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but I hope it is.
It has? Yeah, he's going to be Electro again. Benedict Cumberbatch will be Doctor Strange. And apparently, it also...
Oh, it's been confirmed. Yeah, he's Electro
Andrew
again.
Garfield will apparently be... Also, as in Peter Parker. And then Kirsten Dunst, who was the original Mary Jane from the first Sam Raimi films, is also apparently going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
So, they're really trying to... I think they're trying to do some Spider-Verse stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the Spider-Man 3 curse, like from the... I mean, I don't know if it's really a curse, but like it seems like there's always at least one movie in the Spider-Man film series that they just try and do too much and then they end up failing. Like, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is like my least favorite Spider-Man movie. Well, it's obvious, right? And then Spider-Man 3, which was enjoyable because of all the memes, but it had a lot of problems as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the studio interference.
It's going to be the same director, John Watts, who was behind the first two movies.
Because if it's good, it might just blow everyone's mind.
We have faith in him. He's both of those movies I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
A funny thing, he is going to be directing a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
That was one of the other announcements that I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
The last thing is the Fantastic Four movies currently have a reputation for being really garbage, especially... Very hot garbage. I quickly double checked the 2015 version, which has a couple great actors in Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. It has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So, and I'm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you could screw that up, man, especially with the young cast you got. I mean, but I kind of heard it was a bit more studio interference which ruined the film, which is kind of typical for Sony movies, it seems like. Oh wait, no, that was 20th Century Fox, wasn't it?
Yeah. But so hopefully that's
I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know. It just seems like whenever there's studio interference, a movie it seems to just go downhill.
They haven't got that yet. So hopefully John Watts, who hasn't really done a lot before Spider-Man, so I'm not sure. I think he was a little bit of an indie director, but he hadn't made any like indie hits really. So he's kind of at this point
more of an indie
like
director,
a superhero specialist. So who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, like, when you got the guys from Freaks and Geeks, like the actual actors from Freaks and Geeks,
like writing
the movies, I think it also helps like make the character of Peter Parker as a teenager more believable.
The Prom.
Right? I think that
this movie is directed by Ryan Murphy and stars Meryl Streep, James Corden, Keegan-Michael Key, Ariana DeBose. Aiden finished this off.
Yep.
Do you remember who else? Yeah. All
right. Joanne Perlman, I believe she's a newcomer to the film scene, so I think that's kind of interesting. That this
Kerry
was her first
Washington.
film, so yeah, and can't forget my man Keegan-Michael Key. He's a great actor, even better comedian. So yeah.
So
all right, so. Oh yeah, I can't forget Kerry Washington, Lover in Scandal, of course.
Yeah,
she's a great actress.
Can start.
Yeah. All right, so.
Yeah.
Shall I get into it? All right, because I already know how you feel about this movie, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I mean, I don't even know how to describe this movie. It could have been so. I'm just going to start off by saying this. It could have been so much more. Like, the entire premise is brilliant. Yeah. I think it has a good story hidden in there somewhere. Like, because the whole story centers around like a young lesbian girl in like rural Indiana, which is a pretty conservative state, right? And she's trying to like find a way to like be public with her girlfriend, right? But of course, the situation isn't allowing her to do that. And I feel like, if they just expanded on like the ideas of like intolerance and why people think like that, it could have been a much better movie, But we can't all be negative. So I feel like we should probably talk about some of the positives.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of liked... I know you have your feelings about the musical numbers. I personally thought that some of them were pretty great, Like, I know, like, not all of them were bangers, but, those were pretty good. I liked the costume design. I thought that was really good. I like the set design as well. I thought it gave kind of like a vintage but like modern feel, which is like kind of cool,
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and
I personally thought that
I don't know. I kind of
DeVos was very good.
I think that was.
I think she's
about it for me,
by
to be
far
honest.
the best singer.
I think she's
maybe the best actress in this movie. I think the performances from people like Keegan-Michael Key and Meryl Streep, they're fine. I think Nicole Kidman's fine, even though I don't know why she's in this movie because she isn't given a lot to do. Contrary to you, I didn't like the lighting and the cinematography. I thought that it was way too showy, and they needed to tone that way down. It was like it was too disorienting. The production design I also didn't really like. It didn't feel very lived in. Like, it was clear that they used an actual high school, but like I don't remember any particular items, but there was some stuff that like I found it really strange, for one, that like the principal didn't have like a computer in their office, and that his office also felt like it looked too much like a movie set. Yeah, and a sliding door. I like that. That was surprising. Why there's a sliding door in a principal's office. That was really weird. Anyways, I think the biggest problem with this movie overall is the story and the writing. I think that's probably the biggest problem with this movie. There's never It does. But the thing is, for me personally, it like ruined those moments like within like a scene or even within the same scene. It ruins.
I mean, it does have some heartwarming moments. I will give it that.
Hillbilly personally. Like, sometimes they made me, like, I've sometimes gone to my feels, and then they immediately did something ridiculous, and it just took me right out of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit inconsistent, to be honest. And I mean, like, I don't know if you noticed this, but like, when the actors are switching back and forth between like, how they're
like
talking
so
in the
much
scene
different.
with like a musical number, and then like how they're singing voices.
Especially like
that was
some
really
of the people from
poorly
like
done, to be honest, because it doesn't even sound like they're in the
same
same
scenes that I have the
room,
biggest
for
problems
Christ's
with,
sake.
where they just sing a song, and all of a sudden the kids who were being bigots against the girl just automatically changed. But their singing voices should not have been in this movie, because that was where it seemed the most obvious, where they like definitely were not in the same, they were definitely not recording in the same place. That was where it was the most obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, like, yeah. I also thought, we didn't talk about this
that wasn't
like initially, but I put this in my review. Like, the cultural references in this film are just over the top. They're going to be dated in like, I don't know how many years, and they're cringy as hell, honestly. I don't know if you noticed that, but like, yeah. I mean, like, there's a few scenes where they're trying to use, like, internet language. Like, some of the older characters in the film were using, like, I don't know, internet terms. Like, I'm trying to remember what they were doing. And also, like, making weird references to social media. And, like, I don't know. It just... It felt really, how do I say this? Like,
terrible.
Hollow and just kind of like a corporate thing to make it more relevant to younger audiences. But, I mean, like,
his
that's
American
just
accent
that's
is
just
really bad.
You know?
He's not funny.
Yeah. Also, James
tries
Corden,
to do this
terrible.
cheeky gay
I think we need
humor,
to talk about that. Yeah.
Which, like, it's very clear that he only did it for this film, and that he never has done it in real life ever, because and his voice is annoying. His character is annoying. He's like way too much. And most times, he's not over exaggerated most of the time. He's not like too much of a gay stereotype, but he's like a toned down version of a gay stereotype, I'd say. And he shouldn't be here. I don't think he's very good. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I definitely agree, to be honest. I mean, like, I think his American accent is also very easy to see through, especially when he's doing his emotional scenes. Like, I can hear the British coming through. It's not good at all. Like, you could have gotten someone much better. Like, for example, I pointed this out to you earlier. Like, you know, maybe someone like, I don't know, who's actually American. Like, I know Ricky Martin's from Puerto Rico, but it's still part of the United States. You could have gotten him. That would have been way better than James Corden.
Yeah.
And Ricky Martin is in a musical this year.
Felt like it relied
it
way
shows
too
you
much
that it
on
can
its
be
star
done. Like, there's nothing
from,
wrong with casting.
Keegan-Michael
I don't
Key,
understand
Kerry
why they
Washington,
couldn't just get
Nicole
him.
Kidman,
Because the
Meryl
movie was
Streep,
on Netflix
James
as well.
Corden,
They could have just done
the other guy
could have just put him in two movies. Like, it could have been good. You know?
That they felt like I personally wanted all of those characters just axed from this movie, because while it seems like they're brought in to make it more like, the way it works is like, oh, they're Broadway stars, so it makes sense that they're gonna sing in this, you know, when we're watching this scenario play out. But they try to develop almost all the characters except Nicole Kidman, who gets nothing, which is why I don't know why she's really in the movie. And then it tries to develop all the characters a little bit, especially, like, it tries to do stuff with James Corden, stuff to do with Kerry Washington, stuff with, like, the teenager stuff with Keegan-Michael Key. It's too much. They needed to focus just on the relationship with Emma and Ariana DeBose's character, right? Alyssa. Yeah. and Broadway stars
I totally
played.
Agree. Like, this is
and Broadway stars played by
It shouldn't be a movie
stars.
about her and then everything else. Like,
you know,
that's the whole point of the story. Like, that's why it's called The Prom. Like, not The Prom and Meryl Streep, you know, perving on Keegan-Michael Key. Exactly. I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, and, like, I think I mentioned this a bit earlier, you know, like I just want to make sure I say this just so, like, if anyone gets offended, I can shove it right back in your face, all right? But I'm in the LGBT community,
with one song
and I
and
personally
dance.
Didn't think that they handled
one song and dance.
The actual issue at hand very well, you know? It was very surface level, and they're basically expecting me to believe that people can change their bigoted ways, which are probably been passed down to them from... Yeah, I mean, like, it... Yeah, I know a movie isn't supposed to be real. You know, I know it's supposed to have, like, a hint of, like, fantasy in it, right? But at the same time, it's got to be somewhat believable, right? And in its execution of what they're trying to do. But, like, people who
I really
bigoted,
don't like the songs
they've
that
been taught
seem to
to
change
act
their
this way.
minds.
It's not going to take,
like
I don't
you
know,
said, they do it way too fast. And in a 2-hour movie,
to just undo, let's say, 18 years of conditioning.
I thought,
like,
at the hour point that it should be over. Like, I was watching it and I was like, okay, the movie's going to end soon.
Yeah.
And then I realized there's a whole other hour, and I'm like, what are they going to do? They barely develop anything. They don't develop anything. Like, they change, like, they don't even try to take time to, like, show, like, the actual change in the bigots, and that probably should have been specifically focused on Kerry Washington, because the idea would be either if she's like gets her mind changed, everyone else kind of falls in line, or that she's at least able to stand with Alyssa and like like maybe the whole town's still like iffy on it, right? But at the end, they're just like they're way too all together, and for a movie this long, they do nothing to develop it. It's a little ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, I pointed this out to you, like, a bit earlier, but, like, they tried to give Kerry Washington's character a bit of, like, character development by, like, talking about how, the girl's dad walked out of their life, and the reason why her mother's pushing her so hard is to make her dad come back. And I get that. That would be good if they explored that a little bit more, but I feel like because they spent too much time on the other like parts of the story instead of like the relationship between the two girls and with their mom,
just like,
then
random
they just
song.
didn't have time.
My dad, my parents
came
are
out of nowhere,
divorced.
and like
my dad's gone.
I had to laugh at it.
And maybe if I'm
like,
great,
what?
he'll come
Where
back.
Where did this come from? Like, I hope my dad comes back. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just.
Like, I personally thought they almost focused more on the relationship between Meryl Streep's character and Keegan-Michael Key's character. In a movie that's supposed
that
to
would
be
a good idea,
about,
but you can't just
in the cast
say it
list,
and then move on from it like it didn't exist.
The prom. And what do you think of prom? You think
man.
high school. So you think you need high school characters. The two actual high school characters we're supposed to focus on are literally listed as like the 8th people in this movie about high school. It's ridiculous. And they're both very talented. Like, Jo Ellen Pellman has never been in a movie. She can sing. She's pretty good. Like, she's not the best, but she's good. Ariana DeBose is good. They should have focused way more on that instead of Meryl Streep and Keegan-Michael Key and whatever else was going on with those characters.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like this movie, it had all the things going for it. It had like a great idea on paper.
Yeah.
It had like all the makings for it to be great. But they settled. Like they didn't want to. I don't think they spent enough time trying to like make it good. I feel like they just wanted an entertaining musical movie with a simple enough message that people could get it, and then they could feel good about themselves for watching
this is
it.
for me, like for you, it might be
like
a guilty
I gave this
watch.
movie a 6 out of 10, but it is by no means a good 6 out of 10. Like you can watch it and maybe have a bit of fun, but
the way
like someone like me, it's hard to get
painful
behind at times.
Like
I had a bit of fun watching it, but
so we know that Ryan Murphy
is
gay. He grew up in conservative Indiana. It felt like my sort of conspiracy theory is that Ryan Murphy felt like he took his experience from whenever in like I don't know how old he is, sometime in the 80s or something like that, and then brought it into a movie made in 2020, which does not work at all. Yeah. Like, of course, that's a little bit of a nitpick, that assuming that because it's diverse, it's going to be more progressive.
The 80s, probably.
That's not always the case. But it assumes the entire town are all bigots, which is, like, it is possible maybe back in, like, today I would find
with a
that
lot of diversity
extremely
as well,
rare.
You know?
Like that,
it's by no means,
it says that like it talks about how social media is powerful because when she sings that song, she gets really popular. But apparently, social media hasn't changed anybody's mind in Edgewater. It's like they don't have Wi-Fi until it's convenient, right?
Yeah.
It's like they have no. It's like they're an isolated town that has no idea about all the changes that are going on in the world until all of a sudden Emma's able to sing a song and change everyone's mind. You know, it's just like, yeah. Back to the songs quickly. I want to touch on. I personally like the song between Ariana DeBose and Jo Ellen Pellman. I think they're pretty good. I think it's pretty good because that's when the music is the most low key and their voices are able to be the star of that kind of song.
Yeah, no,
I personally
totally
found
agree with that,
one of the most hated songs was like the "Love My Neighbor" thing, because personally, like as a Christian, I'm not part of the LGBT community, but obviously I like that is a very serious topic of debate right now, right? But the way they handle that song is like, so they're like, he's talking about how, like, you know, we're all like how it's not supposed to be all Christians, but like let's just say those particular teenagers are being hypocritical because like they're not following the Bible to the word, but then it's like, so it's like, oh, you're sinners, but then it's like, you know, just love your neighbor, which obviously is a very important part of like the message of the Bible. It's like one of the more important things that Jesus says. And that's why, like, personally, I think that, you know, we need to, like, people need to do that. But it's like the way they handle that is ridiculous. And then when the camera pans up and you see the mall signs are shaped like a cross, I just could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it needed to be more about them being them, like the two girls, and then them like dealing with people around them who need, like,
I will admit
need
that,
their minds to be at least somewhat changed. Like, and they need to
you
develop that instead of doing one song.
Like I said that earlier, you know,
about it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, like I was quickly looking at all the movies that I've watched that involved main characters being LGBTQ, and I think this is my worst favorite. Like, this is my least favorite, I think a movie, I mentioned this before, but Love, Simon, which I don't think is even the best LGBTQ movie I've ever seen. But it's like one of the worst, actually, but it's so much better than The Prom, and that's no knock, because all these movies are great, but Love, Simon is great. But this movie just sticks out like a sore thumb, besides something like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Right? But at least Bohemian Rhapsody has Queen songs. I personally never liked any of the songs in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just does such a disservice to, like, literally everybody. Like, it felt like everyone, like, cared, but also it just doesn't work. Like, it was on a broken foundation. I can hear it in your voice, man.
You're like it had right now at this movie.
Like, the idea was good. I've never seen you act like this before. But as they start to develop this, it was just bad from the beginning. Like, nothing worked for me, right? Like, this, like, I told you this is like my second least favorite movie of the year. And that I personally, The Kissing Booth 2, which I watched, is worse. But the reason I found, like, I watched that movie is because it's in the realm where it's so bad it's kind of funny. This movie, for me, unfortunately, since I couldn't really vibe with it, was just painful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost offensive in a way. It's almost like, I can't say that, but I feel like I'm not in a position to say that, but I feel like if I was part of the community that I'd find offense from that. I'm just talking from my own personal opinion, of course. I can't speak for anybody.
It's slightly cringy in some areas. I will
speaking for myself.
You know?
Yeah, but it could be so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, like, you know, I'm not. I'm personally not offended by it. You know. Yeah. No, I get you. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I totally get that. It makes sense. You know, like, like I said, you know, I'm not personally offended by it, but I just, you know, it could have been handled better. That's all we're trying to say. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I guess that's another. I mean, was a surprising one for me. Like, I think we both talked about this. Like, the trailers made it look pretty awesome. I thought this was going to be like, you know, something a bit like Chicago or something like that. You know, but I don't know if you've seen that musical, but I've heard it is really good. So yeah. But I mean, Yeah, well, we can just move on from that now. We will hopefully have a better movie to talk to you guys about next week, which is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Yeah, that was Daniel's choice, by the way. Yeah.
So
that should be good.
Yeah, make sure to go follow Aiden at GBD Reviews on Instagram. Make sure to check out myself reviewing on YouTube. Again, we're going to be trying to do these things like bi-weekly or weekly. So we're going to be doing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom next time. I'm really excited for that movie. It's going to be a bittersweet watch as we see Chadwick Boseman's farewell performance. But it will also be great to see him.
Yeah, man, I don't even know.
I think he's going to...
That's going to be hard to watch,
I think he's going to win an Oscar for it,
Yeah.
which I think it will probably be deserved, but we'll see when we talk about that movie, right?
Yeah, we will definitely see. I mean, like, got a good cast. It's looking promising, so I hope it's good.
All right. So you've been listening to the GBDENG podcast.
Yes. Name pending. We may change it.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next time.
Goodbye.